So where I'm fishing, there's a lot of gar and a lot of bass and a lot of shad. I guess I should have phrased that difference. There's a lot of shad here, and there's a lot of bass here feeding on the shad, and there's a lot of gar here feeding on the shad. So recently I posted a bass that had a lot of war wounds. Looked really rugged. He was still healthy. He just had been in a battle. Shortly after that, I caught another one that looked the same way. It wasn't the same fish, but it looked incredibly the same as far as the wounds. I was catching them where the gar were at, and the gar were extremely, agitated and feeding. So really what's happening is the bass are feeding on the shad, the gar are feeding on the shad, and some of the gar are fighting with the bass and actually feeding on smaller bass also. So that's what's happening to those bass. Those bass are getting wounds from those gar. I've seen a bass close to the boat that I was reeling in, and I see a gar go after it and actually, bite at it and grab it. Not for long, but enough to peel some scales off and do some wounding. We talk about the gar sometimes, in the South especially. They like high pH water, and bass won't be there. I know for a fact that's not true on Table Rock Lake, because a lot of the bass will feed here with the shad. And we're not talking about high pH water or anything like that. They're just taking advantage of that food source just like the bass is.